Ah, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to What's on the Playlist today. Going a bit outside the usual parameters today because I'm talking about a musician whose work I do not own. Today I want to talk about Dr. Steele. And the reason I'm going to talk about him is for a couple of reasons. um, one of the reasons I'm talking about him today is that recently my earbuds died, or well, the left one died. So you have a lot of music that has a lot of stereo sound, you're missing half the music. So I went onto YouTube to try and find something to listen to while I was working. Came across a Dr. Steele playlist. Listened to it, and I wanted to talk about it. So Dr. Steele is the onstage persona of a guy named Rion Vernon. Started busking on the streets of Los Angeles around 1999. Put out his first album, digital only, in around 2001 called Dr. Steele. Followed up with Dr. Steele 2 Electric Boogaloo, and finally People of Earth. There were a couple other compilation albums after that. I think all told he put out 5 albums. Some of them were actually had CD releases, and some of them were digital only. His persona is basically that of a mad scientist. He is a disgruntled toy maker who was fired for wanting to create baby dolls with chainsaws for hands. And in retaliation for being fired, he burned the place down, burned down the toy manufacturing company to the ground, and spent several years in an institution. Escaped and basically wanted to do world domination, not to take over the world, but he wanted a world makeover, to create a utopian playland for everybody. He actually appeared on the Tonight Show once, which I was surprised to learn when looking him up. But he was, he had his own, web channel. He did like video stuff. He put out videos. There was some conflict between him and Joss Whedon's Dr. Horrible sing-along blog because there was a lot of similarities. The character of Rion Vernon and his, I'm not sure if he sued them or not, but he did try to say that they kind of that Joss Whedon ripped off his idea. And Joss Whedon and the other people who worked on Dr. Horrible sing-along blog said that they were not aware of him. And there's more than enough room for mad scientists. Although there's enough similarities between the two that it's questionable that it could have been a ripoff. But there's enough differences too that you can never know for sure. Like I said, enough similarities between Dr. Steele and Dr. Horrible that it's possible, it's plausible that Joss Whedon did steal some from them, or I'm not sure who else wrote Dr. Horrible. Anywho, the music itself has like a very industrial. It's kind of like industrial rock. There's some definite hip hop influences, mostly it's all spoken word. He doesn't sing. He kind of like he's kind of like a gravelly voice, and he just speaks the lyrics. So there's definite hint of hip hop. But not a lot. Not my. You can tell the influence, but it's primarily like an industrial. It's industrial rock. It's got that definite sound to it, and I really liked it. I loved it. For my own personal history, though, I did not hear about Dr. Steele until around 2013, I think, and he actually retired in like 2010, 2011. In 2010, there was a rumor he was working on a new album, but then in 2011, he officially announced his retirement. So I wasn't even aware of his existence until after he'd stopped making music and making albums completely. So by the time I started looking into him, it was kind of already too late to find stuff. There was nothing new being being printed or manufactured. At that point in time, I was kind of dead set on only buying CDs and not doing downloadable stuff. So I was concentrating more on the stuff I could physically acquire from my collection. And since I couldn't physically acquire any of his, I kind of pushed him to the back burner. Figured, whatever, it's digital media. If it becomes important enough to me, if once I burn through the stuff that I can physically acquire, I'll start going after the digital only stuff. So, that's kind of my relationship with him. I've occasionally, come back to it. I'll, situations like this where my headphones start hard, or if I just want some variety, it's like, I've been listening to my own music for a while. I want to listen to something different. What the hell? I'll play a Dr. Steele playlist, whatever. Or I'll listen to a steampunk playlist and he'll be on it. And after this last time, it's like, well, physical media is becoming less of a thing. I really, really, really enjoyed this playlist. Maybe I'll look and see, I'll go online and see what I can see. And there was, there's nothing on his website. Well, the website was basically maintained by fans. They called themselves the Toy Soldiers. But you also couldn't find anything on Spotify or Apple Music or any other streaming service. Apparently, for reasons unknown, and he has never said, he pulled everything. Rhiannon Vernon pulled all of Dr. Steele's original music offline completely. No one knows why. There are some speculations that other people uploaded it to Spotify and in other streaming services, and we're not paying him. That is the only plausible explanation I can come up with. It's the only real reason anyone has said about why his stuff has been pulled. But it's also kind of the reason I wanted to make this video, because right now, YouTube videos are the only place you can listen to his music. You can't stream this on Spotify. You can't stream this on Apple Music. You can't stream it on any musical streaming service whatsoever, because he has pulled it. There is a new Dr. Steele album that has come out that was put out by a fan. It is not the real Dr. Steele. I've listened to it. And it's hip-hop music. Nothing against hip-hop music itself. I mean, it's not the style of music that I like. But, it's completely removed the industrial feel of the music. It's hip-hop and nothing else. It's solid hip-hop. And it's like, okay, hip-hop is fine, but that's not what the music was about. That's not the style of music that I was looking for. When I was looking for this, I saw the album. It's like, oh, a new album. I wonder what's going on. I listened to some of the music. It's like, no. It's like, I think of like Fatboy Slim, whose music was definitely influenced by hip hop, but it's also really weird. You can also tell it's influenced by, alternative rock, by funk, by a lot of other stuff. It's not, it's hip hop in its beat really only. It's a blend of multiple musical genres. And the same thing with Dr. Steele's music. It's not just hip hop. And it doesn't, this fan-made album doesn't sound like him at all. It's just a dude using the name Dr. Steele and and his images too. The image I saw for the album is an image of Dr. Steele. And that's an homage to him is fine. It's not the same music at all. It really isn't. And, I wanted to get this out there because this music is fun. It might not be your style, and that's fine. You might not be into industrial rock hip hop music. And I'm surprised I'm into it myself. It's not usually my thing, but I just found it really fun to listen to. And, it's one of those things that because its creator has decided to stop making it and to pull everything, you can't get it. Our only source of this music is the fans who have uploaded it to YouTube. That's our only option. The people who love this stuff can't get it anywhere else. And I don't want it to disappear. You know, my whole reason for doing some of these what's on the playlist stuff is to share music. You know, to share my passion for music and, you know, my love for the weird, strange stuff that's out there that piques my interest. um, I encourage you to listen to it because you can't find it anywhere. Just to give it a listen, just to hopefully, you know, maybe if it gets enough popularity, maybe we can get it back somehow. You know, because I've reached the point where I would download this stuff digitally, and I would prefer to pay Dr. Steele for it instead of finding a way to rip it off for free. If I've got no other choice, I'll do that, but I would rather pay the artist. I'd rather pay the artist than the studio. I'd rather pay the artist than Spotify or Apple. But if the only way I can get is to rip it off YouTube, that's what I'm going to have to do. But I'd rather not. And I'd rather share it to try and get other people to listen to it and to keep it alive. Keep the music alive. As always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. And until next time, good hunting.